everyone. Welcome to this broadcast of Marshall Smite. Today it's going to be Marshall Black and White taking on Penn State. And in my opinion, these are the two best teams in the division. So it's going to be a good set today. We have four of the normal Marshall Black and White players today. Unfortunately, Woofs is out right now, so Zenith will be taking their place. Uh, that's the ADC for this team and is also the ADC for Marshall KG, which is the Division 2 Marshall team. The Penn State team, on the other hand, is has always been Div 3 this semester, except one player is in a very similar boat because that player played in Div 2 last semester, and they are also very good. So it's kind of interesting that they have both teams will have four Div 3 players and then one Div 2 player, and they're both in the same role, I believe, too. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Um, when it comes to these teams, especially Marshall Black and White, a lot of these players are a lot more green. For example, I know that the mid for Marshall Black and White has specifically not that much experience in Smite. They have a lot of experience in MOBAs in general. I think they play a lot of League of Legends, but they're just learning Smite. And when you have a collegiate team like this for a game that's so small, that kind of thing is expected. So like Penn State definitely has a couple players like that as well, and so it's a really big learning experience for them. And then it's very different than the Division Two games if you tune into any of those, um, where I'm playing support and I've been playing for like 5 semesters, and I'm not even the most like veteran player. Like I have 2,000 hours in Smite, and I'm not even close to the most veteran player. So it's just a very different atmosphere. Honestly, if you play Smite at uh, a decent capacity and you've played ranked, it probably is around like a gold level. These Division 3 games. With that said, it's completely different than ranked in that they're playing to win as a unit instead of in ranked where you just try and just frag out or whatever. Um, so you'll see a lot more objective play than a ranked match, even though it's a lot of players that are still learning. You'll see a lot better grouping than most ranked matches, and a lot of cool stuff like that. Something else I do want to talk about is obviously Newt just came out. Newt dropped Tuesday. If you haven't got to check out The God, they're absolutely busted, and you should definitely try them out. Um, Newt is not available to play today though, so that's something that I don't have to worry about. Bake Kujira, however, the other newest God, is definitely available, and will probably be a priority pick, considering how good they are. And so it looks like we're in on the drafts here. Looks like Penn State has the first pick of the draft and the first ban. So some bans I'm expecting to see, probably Vamana. Bologna is another one I was about to mention. Bologna is definitely up there with Vamana for the top solo laners in the game right now. So it makes sense for them to hit the ban, especially since Ivory Macaroon 55, otherwise known as Robo, is extremely good on that pick. So Marshall's going to answer here. I expect to see a Baki Kujira ban at some point. Um, Another thing they might ban out is an ADC pick, like an on her, to try and counter that really good player in Aqua Regia. That's the one that from Div 2 for Penn State. When it comes to Marshall Black and White, the best player is probably Zenith. With that said, all of them are respectable players and very good. Um, so they're certainly taking their time here to ban. Um, I wonder if they have a plan already set in motion or if they're making it up as they're going here. Uh, Something very interesting um, about competitive Smite is there's a lot of things you have to consider that you wouldn't consider in ranked. For example, secure mages are a very big problem in competitive. So some things like Vulcan and Scylla see a lot more bans in competitive Smite. Okay, looks like they had to cancel that. Probably someone lagged out. If you play Smite at any level, you know that Smite has so many uh, crashes and bugs, especially when you're trying to load up a custom game. So that's honestly typical. Yeah, and we'll just go ahead and get it spectated as soon as they get it back up. Um, so more talking about probably a game plan for Marshall Black and White. They probably are going to play through the duo lane, which is what the majority of teams do. You don't really want to play through the solo lane as much unless you have a hyper carry over there. Reason being is it's kind of hard for them to carry the game, especially compared to the ADC. The ADC can carry a game so easily. If you've ever played with a split push Chronos or a Freya or a anything like that in your duo lane, you know that they can just run the game late game. Anything with like a large amount of crit or a Charybdis with full penetration and stuff like that, you can just run a game down. Especially since Zenith is the ADC. If Zenith gets fed, I think the game is over. Um, so Penn State will probably also be prioritizing the duo lane, so we'll probably see most fights happen around purple buffs or just in duo lane in general, around shield buffs perhaps, around the Naga over there, anything like that. And then we'll definitely see early grouping for Gold Fury, especially with the teleporter in the game now, where you can teleport from solo lane to duo lane. Gold Fury seems to go a lot faster in current Smite than they used to. It used to be where the solo lane would be laning, and then it'd be Gold Fury time. Like Gold Fury comes up, and they'd have to back to base and then use their teleport relic to get to duo lane. That's the only way they could get to duo lane. And then they don't have the teleport relic to get back to solo lane, so they lose a lot of farm for that Gold Fury. That's not the case anymore. You can just teleport over, do the Gold Fury, and then back to base and use your teleport fragment to get back to solo lane. So solo lane is a lot more impactful now than it used to be in competitive Smite, which I think is a very good change. And although duo can also teleport to solo lane, that does not happen as much. The biggest thing I see is a jungler that has just ganked duo lane will take the teleporter to get to another gank in solo lane. That's the biggest reason I've seen the teleport used on that side of the map. And then obviously, once you teleport, it's a 2-minute curse that you can't teleport again. Um, so I think the teleport is a really interesting change and a good change for Smite and especially competitive Smite. Um, some other things that got changed in the new season. Obviously, recipes have been axed. There are no more recipes in the game. I think this is a good change. Obviously, if you played Smite for a long time, you remember boots. How boots had to get built by literally everyone, and it's like, why even have it in the game if you're basically required to buy it anyway? So they got rid of them, and then you got move speed when you leveled up instead of just with boots. Um, and then they added recipes, and recipes were required for everyone. Um, and then there were definitely some that were better than others, and like Sturdy Stew and sometimes Party Punch, but not really. And then obviously Bountiful Bow until it got nerfed was literally just built by everyone. So why would you keep them in the game? So I'm glad they removed them. Um, okay, we're getting back in here. So since they crashed, the first ban has to be the same. So Penn State has banned Bologna. They cannot go back on that now. There's the ban on Bologna. I honestly think that is the best ban they could have banned. Robo is very good on Bologna, and it's a very good pick. So let's talk about the secure mages. There goes Kukulkan. Arguably the most popular mage pick, and probably the best mage pick right now is off the board. Now we have an Athena ban. Athena, another really strong pick right now. Probably the best support in the game right now. And Osiris is gone. So Osiris makes sense to ban for Marshall Black and White, especially since Bologna is off the table, because the biggest counter to Osiris is Bologna. So they might be thinking, hey, if they're banning Bologna, they probably want to pick Osiris. And it does kind of suck because I know that Robo can play that pick, but it is something that they have to do since they don't have the first pick for this first game. And something else I should touch on is that how competitive Smite works is the loser gets first pick. or actually, the loser gets choice of pick. They just almost always pick first pick. So whoever loses this game will get to go into game 2 with the choice of their pick, which will most likely be first pick. And so, okay, it definitely looks like they're trying to ban out all of the solo laners that Robo plays, as they're going to ban Nike here. Nike is okay. Nike's an above average solo laner right now. Definitely, I think they banned it specifically because Robo plays it. And then the last ban for Marshall Black and White is going to be the Thor. Thor, very strong. Uh, if you haven't seen the teleporter interaction with him, you can throw the hammer and then hit the teleporter and then end up in mid lane because you can teleport back to your hammer, which is coming to you, which is a really funny interaction. And so, yes, they have given Marshall Black and White a Bake Kujira. I don't know why they did that. Still a very strong god. The team fight presence is just insane on that god. You can use your ult to time dilate everyone, and then you can use your 2 to make them do less damage. How can you lose a team fight at that point? I don't know. So they've given them Thoth as well, which is easily Marshall Black and White's mid laner's favorite pick, and it's a very good pick. So the consolation for that for Penn State is that they get the Hachiman, which I know for a fact is what Zenith was looking for, and it is without a doubt the best ADC right now in Hachiman. So it makes sense for them to first pick it. I just don't know why they left up Bake Kujira over Nike instead of, like, I don't know. They easily could have just banned Bake Kujira and not Nike. Like if Marshall Black and White gets Nike, it's like great, but if they get Bake Kujira, it's really really good. And so they're gonna go into Sobek here. This makes me think that they're probably gonna try to get a Willix in the bottom 2. If they don't get it, Sobek is still really strong. The setup with the pluck is just really really good. And you can also just um, have really nice teamfight presence with the slow on your ult and with the knock up in general, and the anti-healing from the 3 is nice. Also, they have Amaterasu, probably one of the best solo laners when it comes to contesting objectives and fighting around objectives. The ult is a really good movement, and you have such a long CC immunity duration. Plus, just the fact that you end up being super super heavy into attack speed, you can start really burning some squishies on Amaterasu. And we see Marshall Black and White pick up on her, which is probably the second best ADC right now. With that said, on her is weak to a Willix, and like I said, Sobek is locked in for Penn State. So if Marshall Black and White does not ban a Willix, that tells me that they didn't think about it, and they should have, or Penn State doesn't have an Willix in their god pool, and those are the only two things. So Penn State is going to go ahead and ban Ganesha. Ganesha, another really good support pick, and since Marshall Black and White still has to pick their support, it makes sense. Okay, so Penn State must not have an Willix because Marshall Black and White has banned 2 junglers and they're not named Willix. They banned Susano and Daji. Daji definitely makes sense. They don't want to get beads burned on them every 2 seconds. Susano is a pretty good pick. It makes sense to ban it if they don't have an Willix, for sure. And then Penn State's final ban is going to be uh, Ares. Also, we can see that Camelon has won the 10,000 gem giveaway. Congrats to them. It's always so interesting that it pulls up on everything. Like, even in the middle of a competitive match, it'll let you know that someone won that 10,000 gems. Just to let you know that the event's going around trying to get people playing Smite, which I'm kind of all for. The more people playing Smite, the better. So now Marshall Black and White is going to have the first pick of the second half of the draft. They're going to pick 4th here. I think that they can still select a Willix. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe they have an Willix that I didn't know about. I didn't think that Trey could play a Willix, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've been practicing it. Because Honor's just so weak to a Willix, and they already have knockups with Sobek, so they're going to go into the Loki here. I like a Loki right now. Loki is quite strong, especially in the mid game. You can just ult onto people once you hit level 5 and just burn them so fast. I definitely think they're going to be targeting whatever the mid laner is going to be. because there's no Cuckoo on the table and Thoth is already selected, so there's not a lot of safe options left. Probably something like Scylla is really the best safe mage still on the table. So we are leaving it up to Penn State to see if they have an Awilix or not. If they do lock in a Awilix, I think it's going to be an uphill battle for Marshall Black and White. It's just going to be a really hard thing to play around, because at any time if you leap or get knocked up, you can get just pulled over like 20 walls as to Awilix. So they're not going to lock it in here. Looks like they're going to lock in Discordia and Cabrakan, which this means that either Amaterasu is the jungle or Cabrakan is the jungle. I don't think it's very good either way. I think Amaterasu jungle is a little better, but I think also Cabrakan solo is really bad. So I don't know what the plan is for them. I think they kind of just ruined their draft at the end of there. I don't know why they decided to go for Cabrakan over something better. And especially since they're leaving Robo to grab the Surtur, which is a really dominant lane presence in solo lane. So no matter what's going solo lane, they're going to have a tough time against that Surtur. Especially since they only have a Cabrakan jungle or an Amaterasu jungle to help them out. And then we also see Discordia in mid. It's a good pick. It's definitely not the best pick. The best thing about Discordia is that you get Discordia passive. So obviously if you have top damage, you do a little extra damage. But at that point, if you're just playing Discordia to get that passive, then you're not putting a lot of faith in your mid, because there's not a lot that Discordia can do that others cannot do. And she's not as safe as other picks like Scylla, and doesn't have as good secure like Scylla or Vulcan. And so it's definitely an interesting pick. The best way to play Discordia, I think, is to go Tablet of Destiny and start stacking it with the 1, because it's so easy to stack on all those little projectiles. So we see here 1 person or 2 people DC'd, so they'll just have to pause and wait for them to get back in. Looks like they're already back in, so that's awesome. We can maybe go ahead and look at the builds here, see what everyone's building on the items. If not, that's fine. Alright, awesome. So, looks like we got Baka Kujira. That's going to be the support for Marshall Black and White. They're going for the War Flag, which is definitely my favorite starter item in support. And especially with Baka Kujira, because you're so dominant early game. And they're also going to start Gauntlet as well. We got standard stuff in mid. Thoth is going Sands of Time, and they're going to start Book of Thoth and start stacking it up. So we got some pretty standard builds. So this is Penn State side here. We got Sobek and Hachiman getting ready to do the standard start. It looks like everyone's doing the standard start. No one's doing anything weird. I would say it is taking Cabrakan quite a long time to figure out their build. I wonder if they've played a lot of Cabrakan in the jungle, because it is now guaranteed Cabrakan in the jungle for Penn State. Some other things just to quickly mention while we wait for the minions to spawn. There's a lot of things that are banned in competitive that you wouldn't think are banned in competitive. For example, death marks are instantly game ruining, especially because it absolutely wrecks the spectator. So death marks are banned for all players in competitive, and there's just stuff like that that are banned. Ward skins are banned. Most of the normal skins in the game are banned. Like, for example, this Shark Sobek is not banned, but a lot of them are. No one's going for any invades, I imagine. Baka Kujira and Onher maybe could have invaded, but if they're gonna do it, they're gonna have to clear very fast over there. Minions have spawned. So we got Penn State solo laner in Amaterasu. They are here clearing normally. Obviously, in solo lane, you have to clear the XP before you can clear the blue buff. And here we go. We got a lot of early pressure from Eagle here. just running at him, trying to get some early poke because their clear is so much faster. So this early game should definitely go in the way of Marshall Black and White, especially since Sobek clear is so bad and Bakekujira clear is so good. And there you can see it. Not even a single hint of damage on the on the archers of the minion wave for Marshall Black and White. I would have liked to have seen them got a little more aggressive, especially since they only have a Kabrakan jungle that can contest them. We see the Sobek here has doubled up his 3 and his 2 instead of his top, so that means that they have not a lot of setup in duo lane right now. It pretty much signifies that they're going to start playing safe in duo lane and let Marshall Black and White have what they want early game and play the mid game or maybe the late game. Although I say that, and Eagle got poked out really bad there for not that much poke on Hachiman, so definitely not ideal for them. Gonna have to pop a lot more health potions now that it ticked back up so that he can fight a little more. Yeah, the Hachiman in the Sobek clear is just so bad. It's really hard for them to do much of anything. There's the pluck down on Sobek. I would have liked to see them go in on Sobek here without his dash, but then again, they are pretty poked out from Eagle going in a little bit ago. And we see Hachiman getting a lot of damage on Zenith here. And now, honestly, I think this lane has somehow gone in favor of Penn State now, just because of how poked out Eagle is. We see Kabrakan rotating in here. He's trying to get an early kill. There's the blink and the tremble. And he's still not going to find anyone. He's going to actually tank a couple of tower shots. And they are going to end up getting Eagle. That's very unfortunate. They've just barely picked up that kill. And Trey's got to be careful here. Kabrakan Tremble does a lot of damage. Yep, and there's the one. And the bees might save him? It does indeed save him. And actually Zenith picks up the kill on Aqua Regen, which is really awesome. That they were able to get the kill back, although they can't get the first blood gold. They still pick up Kabrakan, which is really good because that's the jungler, not the support. And we see in solo lane that this Amaterasu is having a bad time. I don't know what's happened over here, but compare the health and mana on this Amaterasu to Robo over there. Robo has been running it down over here. He is cooking. He might even go for a blue buff invade here. He is going to go for a blue buff invade. I don't know if we can get eyes on that Surtur, which is the Ivory Macaroon 55 on the red team. I don't know if we can get eyes on him, but he's actually going for a blue buff invade early game. And he's going to be way ahead in solo lane. So maybe Marshall Black and White is actually going to pivot to playing through the solo lane instead of the duo lane. It's definitely something that they can now do because Robo has such a big lead. And we see here some more fighting in duo lane. And now Marshall Black and White definitely has the advantage over here. I believe they picked up the shield buff. Just getting all the neutral farm now as they go to the Naga as well. Trying to get as much of a lead as possible. But in mid, Discordia is able to pick up the right mids, and soon to be the left mids, I imagine, as the Marshall Black and White mid laner pushes back. It looks like Amaterasu went ahead and back to base and teleported back in to get the health back up, and despite that, it's still kind of an even fight here for Robo, even though Robo still has his teleport, I believe. So, Loki's ganking this man, actually, and there's the ult, and I believe this Amaterasu is just dead. Yeah, very nice gank from Trey there. That might be the freest solo gank I've ever seen in a competitive play. I don't know why the Amaterasu was up so far with nothing. And now, speaking of free ganks, they almost pick up Zenith there, invading the purple buff. He's gonna live on one. The Discordia ult's gonna come out, and did it hit him? It did not, it missed. And Discordia's gonna miss the one as well, and Zenith is barely gonna go down. Discordia missed every ability there, but it was able to just pick it up with an auto attack because of how low Zenith was. I don't know what happened to Eagle. I guess Eagle went ahead and backed and rotated out, and Zenith decided to invade the purple anyway, which probably wasn't the smartest idea. It was very aggressive, and he got punished for it. Subbo's gonna back to base. I imagine he's gonna grab his Gauntlet of Thief or Prophetic Cloak, depending on which one he went. We see just normal laning stuff in solo lane as well. In mid, it looks like Marshall Black and White's gonna try to go for the mids here. For a second, I thought they were gonna invade the green. I think they definitely could have invaded the green, especially since they have the Thoth that can attack it through the walls. But it is kind of risky, I guess, so a lot safer just to take the mids. Discordia definitely has a lead in mid, so it makes sense that Eagle's gonna rotate early and try to help out the mid rather than Zenith. Because honestly, Zenith doesn't really need it that much, even though he's a little behind in the duo lane. And we see Penn State just grouping up their red and their yellow. And actually, I lied. Zenith is actually ahead in this duo lane. I don't know how that's happened, considering that there was an even fight and then he died free, and he's ahead somehow. I don't know. I guess Zenith is just him, because he's just out farmed this Hachiman, who is now having to back to base and probably miss another wave. Who's gonna get the scepter here? The scepter is worth dying for to a lot of folks, I know that. And Robo's gonna get it. And he's actually gonna pick up the Amaterasu. I would like to see him get aggressive here, just go on this Kraken. I think he wins that. But a lot safer play, just to ult out and go to tower here. And we see Zenith in the duo lane. Oh, actually, missed block by Sobek. They're maybe gonna pick up Sobek. And then he's got nope, they're just gonna play it safe. Definitely with Thoth, you can just play safe all game, or get a little aggressive. Kabrak and Tremble is going to go down, once again to a gank by Trey. They are definitely playing for the solo lane again. So honestly a pretty good idea after the lead that Robo got. And that's going to be a really nice fluff Discordia ult onto Eagle. Let's see if Eagle can get out. Looks like he can. He's going back in, which is definitely a risky play. The fluff comes up on Sobek. Let's see if he's going to go for it. He does not. So not punished there, the bad positioning by Eagle. He's going to be okay. And the Impale from Zenith is going to secure the shield buff. And also get some nice poke onto Hachiman. I would like to see Zenith get a little aggressive here if they know where Kabrakan is. I don't know if they've seen him on a ward recently. But it doesn't look like it because Zenith is playing aggressive. He's either up a level and a half or a level, which is really, really significant. It is looking like at least a level and a half because he's level 9 right now. So Zenith is really going to be putting in some work. I would like to see the Marshall Black and White team try to play for a pick and then rotate to Gold Fury, because they have a lead everywhere except for mid, I believe. With that said, the lead in mid for Penn State is not that high. And we see Robo here. He's got a health advantage on this Amaterasu. He might go in and try to get that kill. Amaterasu dashes out, so they're just pretty safe. And we see Trey is really... Oh no, this is actually Marshall's jungle. So that Kabrakan was really deep in Marshall's jungle. Got away scot-free. I don't think they had enough vision to really collapse on him. But very risky play from especially Kabrakan jungle. And we see Zenith picking up the Bastion here. That's actually both Bastions down in duo lane. So there's not too much left to get in duo lane other than the neutral camps. And he's got an ult and a pillar and an impale. Right now, I think that Zenith is about to go in and grab this Hachiman, or at least force an ult out. We see another fight in solo. There's the bonk, and Amaterasu just dashed in. Actually, she dashed out. Sometimes the sides get a little bit weird to see, but Amaterasu's out. Okay, so no leap from Zenith here, so he does not have a leap to go on him. If he had a leap there, I think that that's just a free Hachiman. So Hachiman probably dashed out of the leap already, I imagine. His leap comes up, he's gonna jump on the Hachiman. He's gonna, oh, he uses the ult. He should have put the pillar and then impaled him into it, but that's okay. He got, I believe it was either Hachiman dash or Hachiman ult. So, pretty alright, and almost pick up the kill, why not? And we see in mid they're able to get more neutral farm now, so the lead in mid is actually countered by Marshall now. And Robo is going to be able to ult out. He's not going to get picked up in solo lane, despite the Kabrakan gank. And that's why you like Surtur in solo lane, right? He's so safe, despite how aggressive he can be. And we see Sobek traversing the map. They might try to group up for a blue invade. Actually, the blue's down. I don't know why Sobek's doing that. A bit lost, maybe. Not a lot to get right now. I think that right now they should be grouping the gold, all things considered. Because it is up. And I don't think there's any vision on it from either team. So... right now, looking at the gold, you see that Marshall is in the lead by about 400 gold, and now 700 gold because Robo's able to pick up a kill on Amaterasu, completely solo, by the way. Not any help from the jungler there, which is something that feels terrible if you're the solo laner that gets killed. And Robo has secured the solo lane victory with that. There's no way to come back from that, especially since you're already behind. So Robo's gonna probably look to hit that teleporter and try to push the lead into other lanes, I imagine. We see Onher and Hachiman doing their thing in the duo lane. I have not seen Zenith use a lot of the pillar. Despite the fact that he did 3 stuns, and here we go in solo lane again. Just Robo bullying this guy. He's 2 levels up now. Like, make it stop. It almost trying to dash in. Definitely, pretty safe. But Kraken gank into duo lane here is actually going to pick up Zenith. I thought he was so safe there. I guess the Hachiman ult just barely killed him. And that is really unfortunate. Because that's the second time he's gone down in duo lane this game. Just do it for Kraken again. Yeah, they're letting Amaterasu sink now on Penn State because that was the freest solo of, like, I've seen a competitive game in so long. I mean, Robo just walked in and did what he wanted to that Amaterasu. Could not do anything. And we see the fight over the beacon going pretty okay for Marshall. But now they're pretty poked out. There's a rotate from Hachiman to pick up the Onher. And I think this beacon is lost. Let's see if they can also get a kill onto Eagle. They cannot. Eagle is out. They do lose the beacon in that fight though. It just was 4-3 in the fight because Zenith unfortunately was dead from the gank prior. I don't know if we can maybe pull up the items for a little bit, kind of look at what the results are looking like. Yeah, very nice. Let's see if we can see anything irregular. For Marshall Black and White, everything looks good. We got Sekpet's Scepter on Surtur, which is the optimal build, especially with Rebirth Breastplate. And for Penn State, definitely some standard stuff on Amaterasu. You see the Vital Amplifier there. Hachiman got normal stuff. Everyone's got pretty good builds. So Bracken has to go the combo stacker and then didn't jump. Make it work. And we just see some standard stuff in mid. I don't think there's really any chance without a gank from either jungler that someone falls. Unfortunately, they are going to get Zenith again with another Bracken gank in duo lane. It makes me wonder how they're getting so many free kills on him over there. Maybe Zenith's playing a little too aggressively in the duo lane. I don't know. Aqua Rija is a very good player though, so it could just be that. We see Trey is up to level 14 now for Marshall Black and White. A much better performance than their last game, which they did still win. So both of these teams are 1-0 coming into this game. And we can see, so Robo, it looks like Robo is just standing around, and that's only because he has nothing to do right now. He's got a lead over there. There's no way to push into Gold Fury right now with no picks, and no real way to get picks, to be honest with you, with Zenith falling. So Penn State has a slight lead now. Looks like a 800 gold lead, 900 gold lead, something like that. Which is going to get chipped into by Robo finally knocking down that Bastion there. And also picking up the Totem of Q, more than likely. We see a fight in mid lane. Looks like Trey invaded there. Did some stuff to Kraken. Is not able to get any buffs or anything, unfortunately. And that's the Disco all down. Oh, there's a pretty decent poke onto Disco. He's pretty safe. Until the Flock comes out. He's going to have to ult out, I imagine. especially getting Kraken troubled, he's just going to pop the relics instead of ulting out. And they are actually going to be able to pick up the whale. I think he got Kraken ulted out, and there's just no way to get out after that, after getting Kraken walled. And now Penn State is grouping up for the Pyromancer. They're going to ping it out here, Marshall is. The Pyromancer is being taken, and I don't know if Marshall even knows that it's being taken, because there's not any inclination to group, and the Pyromancer is just going to Penn State now. They gave that up for free, and when you have a Thoth ult, I don't know why you would do that if you just didn't know, if you just didn't have vision on it, so they definitely need to get vision on that. Speaking of getting vision, there's still no vision on Gold Fury, but we do see Zenith take out the tower, and that's both T1 towers down in duo lane now. Nothing too crazy. T1 towers are pretty much destined to fall. And nice Loki ult trade there. They're going to pick up the Amaterasu, who is now at least 5 deaths in. And I wonder if they're regretting the Amaterasu pick. We see here that they have very little gold in hand, and they have some of the lowest gold per minute in the game right now. Actually, other than the supports, wow, Penn State's gold per minute is quite low, actually. The mid laner for Marshall is having a pretty tough time keeping up with gold, but Zenith has like 500 gold per minute right now. He's definitely farming pretty well, and you see their gold per minute. They don't have a pick here, so I think they're gonna have to drop and fight this for risk 50. They're gonna risk the 50-50, and they're gonna lose the 50-50. So they could have secured it with the Thoth ult, and they didn't. I don't know what that was about, and now they lose the fight after 2. Zenith is able to pick up the Kraken jungle. Now the fight is over. It's definitely retreat mode for Marshall here. And Thoth is going to fall here, even with the dash. He's not getting away after getting plucked. And nice pluck from Sobek there for Penn State, and they're able to pick him up. So the kills are evened out, but more importantly, Penn State is up 3,000 gold now. More like 2,000 gold. So Penn State is definitely in the driver's seat now. They're going to try to push that lead, with both objectives being in their hands now. If I'm Marshall there, I don't know why you just rip the Gold Fury when you can fight them, or if you're gonna rip the Gold Fury, you need to be ready to secure it with Thoth ult there. It's a little unfortunate. Robo's just getting the farm. He can, since he does still have the level lead over there. Nothing really happening on the map right now. Everyone's just farming up, trying to get to 20. And very soon we're going to see a fight over Fire Giant, because we're reaching that level 17 time of the game. So they can afford to start grouping for fire rather than getting the waves. Looks like a Bracken is invading the green for Marshall, which is down. So now he's going to be in the lane area, and Trey is going to just be securing the blue buff in solo lane. I still would really like to see vision on the map for these players. There's a lot of vision in the Penn State side of the jungle around the Gold Fury, but other than that, there's not much vision at all. Looks like Marshall has one ward on the Fire Giant. And another gank on the Zenith here. They're going to be able to pick him up again with another Kraken gank. I wonder how that keeps happening, even with the ults and everything from Kraken. You can still just on the jump out of it if you're safe enough. And there's going to be a pluck onto Robo here. I think he's already safe, especially with the ult. Yeah, he's just gone. He's had enough of that. And he's just going to back to base and reset, I imagine. And we see the Bastion fall in mid for Marshall. And Pyromancer has come up. They're calling Pyromancer here. This is so back behind them, and then Kraken running at them. Get the team fight here. Everyone's relatively healthy. I hear a disco ult. It's hit someone. This ult has hit Trey, so Trey's gonna have to disengage. And he also eats the Kraken ult and does not get walled off. speaking of Kraken ult, I think it also hit that Thoth, and so he's gonna fall with no way out, unfortunately. Penn State now with an even bigger lead. Looks like 5,000 gold right now. So Marshall's gonna have to try and go on the defensive. If I'm them, I definitely give up this Pyromancer, which it looks like they're doing. And then you try to defend this Fire Giant as they used to.
Destroyed the Pyromancer.
Right now, Zenith is just marching down duo lane, which is definitely a weird play when Penn State could be on Fire Giant any moment now. But getting his farm, trying to hit 20. He is really close to getting that upgraded starter item. And now Penn State is wanting the gold play over the Fire Giant. It's a lot safer of a play, as long as Marshall doesn't group for the Fire Giant themselves. Does Caden hear the gold fear here? I don't think he does. But it looks like Penn State's not quite pulling it yet. There's still no vision on it. So they might not even know that they're grouping for the gold fury here.
Check out my tag.
Although it looks like Marshall's around that side of the map now, so they do know that gold fury is about to be taken, maybe? No. They need to be careful here. It looks like Penn State is setting up for an ambush around the corner if anyone steps up too far.
Stopping so passe.
Got all 4 or 5 members in that side of the jungle for a minute until the dragon base and went mid lane. See the Bake Kujira, even though they're a little behind the Sobek, I still think the pick is going to do wonders in team fights. On her jump here, he's just disengaging. He needs to watch out for a Kabrakan blink. This Kabrakan ult down. And it looks like Alma's going in. And unfortunately, Penn State is able to secure the Gold Fury. Especially when their Thoth is getting ran at. And there's not a lot of peel for the Thoth. And there's the Kabrakan blink. And Impale is going to hit Kabrakan with the stun. He might go in here. Let's see if he can pick up the Kabrakan. No, he gets stunned. That's too aggressive for there, I think. As soon as he jumped in, he was dead there, I believe. And Surtur is going to fall as well. Definitely the game is in the hands of Penn State now, if it wasn't already. They're going to actually group for Fire Giant now with that 8,000 gold. And I know the importance of farming to 20, but if you're Marshall, you really got to group up with this Fire Giant here. They're just pulling it. I don't even know if they know. It looks like they do know, because Eagle's going to go for a steal here. This is a really risky steal. He doesn't even make it there in time. Unfortunate. I think perhaps it was over before it started there after the fight in. And if you're Marshall, I think you just got out-grouped in that fight. I don't think that they were ever really grouped as 5, and so when there's a Kraken and an Amaterasu marching at your mid laner, there's no way to really help it without being grouped up. And the beacon is going to fall for Penn State here, and that means some extra damage on those towers, and also when it comes to defending for Marshall, I think their defense is okay. I think that the Thoth definitely helps a lot with the defense, and the Honor helps a lot with the defense, but the Loki might struggle a bit on defense. The time dilation from Baki Kujira will be really nice on defense. And the Surtur would be okay. Not a lot that most Sunners can do anyways. And the pluck here on the back from Eagle is going to kill him. They're able to dive tower, no problem. Pick him up. If I'm Eagle there, I just run to base rather than backing to base. It was very risky back there, and he paid for it. And now Penn State's going to march into the mid meeting. They're just better grouped right now. And the Amaterasu ult goes down, and actually the kill through the wall with the Honor ult. Very nice. And he does get this gold, but I think, oh, he does barely die to it. That must have just barely killed him. Very unfortunate. And Trey's going to fall as well. Now this becomes a time where it's just Rebel up now. If he he falls, I believe the game is over, and there it is. Penn State is going to pick up round 1, I believe. I think they have plenty of work right here, and indeed they do. So 25-minute game for Marshall. They just crumbled the defense there. They weren't grouped at all. Definitely do not think the game should have ended that early, but obviously you saw what happened. They just got picked off one at a time without much resistance at all, to be honest. So for game 2, they have the skills to win. I mean, for most of the game, Marshall was in the lead, and they had the lead in almost every lane. So individually, they are amazing. They just need to play together more. We take a look at the stats here. Some things that are pretty glaring to me are Marshall's mid and jungle were a little starved for gold there. Unfortunately, missing out on a lot of farm, I imagine. And unfortunately, E5 Bravo is going to go 0-4 on the third. I think that the Discordia just liked their pick a lot better, and it was a lot more comfortable on the pick. And with the good ganks from Sobek and Kabrakan, was able to just pick him up a couple times, even though this is a very safe pick. With that said, the solo lane side of life was absolutely in Marshall's favor, as you see Amaterasu going 0-6 in that game. Taking another look at the builds, we see the relics, the most important thing. The support for Penn State decided to grab meditation. They did not ever upgrade it to blue meditation, which if you don't know, meditation is probably the worst relic in the game until it becomes blue meditation, and then it's one of the best relics in the game. So I don't know why they didn't spend the 500 extra gold to make it blue meditation. So that was kind of a wasted relic slot for Sobek of Penn State there. And when we look at the relics for Marshall support, they decided to go Phantom Shell, which is helpful to get out of the Kabrakan walls, definitely. But for their second relic, they decided to go Haitian Wings, which I don't know why you'd go Haitian Wings over Horrific. Horrific is just far and away the best relic right now. You can see Sobek picked it up. And if he's not going to go Horrific, I think probably Robo should have went Horrific instead of Thorns. But definitely should be something they look to get in the second game. It would help with saving people from those Kabrakan ganks especially, or even when they gank themselves. Just slowing everyone down. We saw a mystical mail built by the support for Marshall. I don't like the pickup that much. It is good on the whale. It is good on Bake Kujira. Much more in solo than support, though, I feel. I think that he probably should have went for a more standard thing like Prophetic Cloak or Pridwen instead of Mystical Mail. He probably would have had a lot more success on the Bake Kujira that game. Okay, so I imagine they're going to go ahead and start setting up game 2. If they haven't already. And for the second game, Marshall gets choice of pick. I imagine that they're going to pick first. It looks like they did pick first pick. And we see a couple bans that have already happened. Marshall has banned Kukulkan. With the performance on the Discordia, I do not blame them for banning Kukulkan. You do not want them to get an even better mage. And for Penn State, they're going to ban out Athena. I think they just have seen Eagle's Athena, and they know that it's good, and they want to keep him off of it. So Osiris is going to get banned here. I guess Robo just did not want to play that today. Yep, and there's the ban of Bologna from Penn State. So, no auto attack warriors that are traditionally seen. Last game we saw Amaterasu, but hasn't been as prevalent as these two. Bamata is on the table, and was on the table last game, so I'm surprised no one picked it up. It is still quite good. And we're going to see the ban of Hachiman. They do not want Kaden on the Hachiman, which makes sense because Zenith is a monster on that pick. They still get the first pick, though. Notable things that are up are Thoth. Bake Kujira is up. They can also go towards a secure mage like Scylla or Vulcan if they wanted to, although it is a little risky to pick a mage that early. Some more solo lane picks. Robo looks great on the Surtur. They could lock Surtur first here. They could also go for a priority support pick. They could pick a Ganesha. They could pick a Sobek and go that route. They could pick a Charon, which is very good right now, either for mid or for support. Onher's on the table still, which Zenith didn't look the greatest on that game, but I know it's good. I think he just got a little oppressed by the Bracken jungle, which actually found a lot of success that game, to my disbelief. But the blink and the scaling on the 3 is the only reason that that pick even works in the first place, and I imagine it worked to great success. And they are going to first pick Surtur here. I think that's a really good choice. I mentioned it earlier. Robo looks really good on it. And pretty much, actually, no, not pretty much. He did dominate the solo lane for the entire game. So why not pick it back up? If I'm Penn State, I am not that worried about Bake Kujira after that game. With that said, if they want to pick it, they can. It is open. If they think they can do it a little better. They do lock in the Bake Kujira. As you saw from the last game, there's definitely ways to pick around it. And they're actually going to pick up the exact same picks that Marshall started with. Nope, they're going to swap the Bake for the Amaterasu. So, interestingly, the solo wants to run back the Amaterasu Surtur match up, even though they kind of got wrecked last game. So, I don't know if that's their only pick or what, but the Thoth getting locked in for Penn State is not good for Marshall now. Unfortunately. Because now E5 Bravo is going to have to find another pick. And the Thoth Secure is just so nice for Penn State. And we see Trey picking up the Fenrir. And they're actually going to pick up Ixchel in mid for Marshall. I imagine that's a pretty decent combo. It's not the greatest combo you can do with Fenrir ult, but if you Fenrir ult someone and just hold them in front of Ixchel ult, they're going to feel it. I mean, that's going to be a lot of damage. So it's pretty decent. Also, just a pretty good pick into Thoth. If he ever uses his dash aggressively, he's just dead to Fenrir. Pretty good into Ama, too. So I like the Fenrir pickup from Marshall. When it comes to Penn State's pick, I imagine they're going to look for an ADC. They don't really want all their picks banned out, especially since they had to ban their own Hachiman, I imagine. Or they can pick up the jungle for Aqua Regia here. They do pick up the jungle. They pick up the Susanoo, which is a very good pick. Definitely do not think it was worth a ban for Marshall, unless Aqua Regia is just really, really good on the pick. I'm not familiar with his picks. But Susanoo can run games. He absolutely can carry games. So we'll see if Aqua Regia is going to try and do that. Some more bans coming out here. I imagine that ADCs would be the priority. Actually, no. It looks like Penn State's prioritizing the Ares ban there. I know that Eagle has a pretty good Ares. I don't know if it was really worth the ban, but Penn State sure thought so, so there it goes. And Marshall's going to ban the Ishtar. I imagine that the ADC plays a lot of Ishtar, because Ishtar is a good pick. So I wonder why they banned it and didn't elect to try and pick it. Probably just to keep it from Penn State's ADC. Probably going to see another support ban from Penn State here if they're going to ban Ares. They are going to ban another support. They're going to ban Bracken. Obviously, we saw it in the jungle for Penn State last game, but it's typically in support, and it's a very aggressive support pick. And it looks like Eagle does not want to play Sobek. He said, I do not want Sobek, let's just get rid of it. And there it goes. So no more Sobek for Penn State this game. It would have been nice to have for sure. If you can pluck someone into Thothult, they're just dead. So it's a pretty good ban for Marshall there to get rid of it. And yes, so Penn State banned the most aggressive supports in the game in Kabrakan and Ares, in my opinion. So I don't know if they're just going to try and bring some stability to the duo lane. It looks like they are going to do that as they lock in Ganesha. Going to make ganking very hard, going to make being aggressive very hard with Ganesha. Just stopping any dives from Fenrir or Surtur with the Ohm. And whatever else picks Marshall's going to have, the same thing would apply. And also, Ares and Kabrakan are the best picks into Ganesha. So Ganesha's biggest counters are also off the table. So it makes sense to go into that. See the Chernobog locked in for Marshall. Chernobog obviously very good because of his global rotation with his ultimate. With that said, if you don't get any value out of the global ultimate, then there's no point in that pick. So I hope to see Zenith using the ult to rotate to some Pyromancer fights or some beneficial solo lane fights or mid fights in general. And we see Iron Eagle lock in the Horus now. This means that the only magical for Marshall is Ixchel. However, a fun fact, Surtur is the only god in the game that does both kinds of damage, physical and magical. With the one, Surtur does magical damage, actually. So, it could maybe bait Penn State into picking up way more physical defense and way less magical defense, and getting whacked by a giant Surtur bonk. So that might be the idea. But 4 physicals is generally not that bad anyway nowadays. And we see the final pick for Penn State is Shablanc. And with Shablanc and Ganesha, what you're looking for is safety. I don't know how you ever kill a Shablanc with a Ganesha there to help out. It's hard enough to kill Shablanc on his own. And now with Ganesha and his ult and his Ohm, and his root with his dash, how do you ever kill Shablanc? I don't know. I don't think you can. So, I imagine Marshall will try to push through solo lane again, pretty much out of necessity, because unless that Shablanc just wildly outplays, they're pretty safe. With that said, also, it's really hard to play through mid for similar reasons. Thoth with his dash is extremely safe. Amaterasu with the ult is pretty safe. However, last game, despite Amaterasu being pretty safe, they were still able to find many ganks, probably mostly onto the blue buff, that they were able to pick up the Amaterasu, because Amaterasu was just trying to secure her blue, and then ends up getting ganked by Loki. In this game, it would be Fenrir. So let's see if she can play a little safer and still get those buffs, especially with the help of Aqua Regia over there this game. Something I would like to see from Trey of Marshall, for sure, is helping secure those buffs a little more, rather than just ganking willy-nilly. The invades on blue buff were very nice when they happened, but there were other times where buffs were just sitting on timers. There was just green buffs on timers, purple buffs on timers. Our Marshall side of the blue buff was on timer, even though they were invading the other blue buff. They were still letting their own blue sit there for like half a minute up to a minute. And that's just farm you're missing out on because it's not on cooldown, it's not respawning yet. Red buffs were on timers. Even his own yellow buffs, I believe, were on timers sometimes. So, I'd like to see a little better farming from Trey, for sure. Not to say they didn't have a good job. The gold per minute was really the only problem Trey had that game. Everything else was going great. He was having really good ganks, finding good success on the Loki ult. But still decided not to go back into Loki, and instead go into the Fenrir. Fenrir is good into Ganesha. So even though they banned the best picks against Ganesha, Fenrir Ultimate picking up Ganesha is kind of a death sentence to him. Even though he still has a dash, because it's going to be really hard to get out even with the dash. Susano is going to be looking to get really aggressive this game, especially on XChell, because XChell is relatively unsafe. If I'm E5 Bravo, I'm playing in tower almost all game, because XChell is that unsafe, and I know that E5 Bravo does not have the positioning knowledge of some of these top players that are able to make XChell work, so they're gonna have to play extra safe in mid this game. When we're talking about builds, I imagine that Robo will pick the exact same thing in solo lane. Just some more Sekhmet's Scepter and Warrior's Axe action. Hayden probably going to go for some normal stuff, maybe a Leader's Cowl or Hunter's Cowl rather. Golden Shard picked up for Robo here. Obviously the shards, in my opinion, there's some glaring better options, like Golden Shard, which is passively always active over something like the other yellow shard, which you can activate for 2 seconds, and it makes you faster for 2 seconds. I don't know why you'd opt for that over a Golden Shard. As you can see here, there's already Robo and Zenith with a Golden Shard. Just really nice to help clear. The other passive shard, of course, is the Sturdy Shard. And we probably see that on at least a couple of folks. Actually, no. For some reason... Okay, we do see Sturdy Shard. It's on Ganesha. And it looks like Horus decided they were going to go for a Horn Shard instead, which is still good. It'll get those cooldowns back up. It just costs your shard, and obviously it's not doing something for 2 minutes until it comes back up. I saw that Aqua Regia on Susano decided to go for the Vibrant Shard, which, if you don't know, it will let you do 10 extra damage on your first ability, plus like 15% of your physical power, so basically nothing. Once I learned that, I pretty much stopped running Vibrant Shard entirely. Definitely not that good, especially compared to Golden Shard to help with clear. So speaking of the yellow shard, it's Wing Shard, I believe is the name, and Prey's actually going to pick up the Wing Shard. I definitely do not recommend that. Maybe just wants a little burst of speed. Everyone doing standard clear again. And Robo's clear so fast with the 3 there. It's hitting absolutely everything. Fire, ring. Some pretty okay clear from these two here. They need to prioritize one of the buffs. They definitely took some unnecessary damage. Look at Fenrir, already half health. And they're actually going to do a pretty uncommon thing. Both teams are going to do it. They're both going to go to both of the speed buffs. Which makes you late in the first wave if you do go extra farm for your mid laner. Bye-bye. Fighting a dual lane here. Clear is better for Marshall, and immediately Eagle's like, okay, if we got better clear, I'm just going to win. And he takes a lot of poke for it, but so does that Shablanc. And having poke on Shablanc is a lot better than having poke on a horse. If you can pick the ADC this early in the game, it's going to be a very uphill battle in dual lane. And yeah, you see, he just does not even care about the wave. He's just going to walk at the Shablanc, make him use his escape there, and spend time in not clearing the wave. We see in mid here, AGL taking a lot of poke, but in solo lane, Robo is just killing her. Already about to pick up the first blood. His 3's coming up. His 3's up. I believe Amadrasi might just be dead unless her dash comes up right now. Yeah, that's the first blood. Nice job, Robo. In a minute 30, got a solo kill on that Amadrasi. Pick Amadrasi, knowing what happened last. And we see the pull from Susana there, almost picking up XChell. Not too quite. See some lots of big damage on Shablanc.
there comes this Chernobog root, or the stone rather, and the knock-up of course, almost finding the Shablanc. And we see Robo's level 4. And the Alma is still level 2. That solo lane is pretty much a wrap already, in my opinion. So very nice over there. Horus. If I'm Horus, I'm looking for a Shablanc here. Yep, and you see there he is, making him run away so that Zenith can clear without the worry of him. And we see a gank. They don't know he's there. Susano is in duo lane. He's behind the Horse now. You see just Ixchon backing out of mid, and there's a fight in duo lane. So they're looking for the Horse. Horse very hard to kill with 2 dashes, and he's able to just get out of there. Susano is probably going to be able to invade the purple here, so Marshall's going to watch out for that. They're going to grab the Naga, and the purple's up right now. So if I'm Marshall, I'm ignoring these archers and securing the purple buff. Obviously, it sucks to miss archers, but... Okay, well, Penn State didn't even invade, so it worked out. They get archers and ultras. That's an Albatross dash. Let's see if takes him out. Almost pretty safe under Jabber there. However, Trey's just invading the blue buff here. So, Albatross already behind, not even able to get her blue buff. Very nice invade there. And I believe Trey will be pretty close to 5. As well, yep, about 5% XP from level 5, meaning ultimate time. Robo about to hit level 6. Some really impressive farming in the solo lane for him. And we see in duo lane, Horus and Chernobog are able to pick up the shield buff now. Not able to contest it, Shablanc and Ganesh, and Amaterasu is really low in solo lane, but I don't know, I think they have to misplay Rogue to get a kill. And we see Iron Eagle looking pretty low in duo lane. He's gonna go in anyway. Very risky play. He's gonna get the knockup onto Ganesh, and Shablanc's gonna dash, and pop his ult as Ganesh ult as well. With that said, they're able to get out even though both ults were burned. So, very nice disengage from Eagle there is going to cost Penn State both of their ultimates for basically nothing. They're able to get a Naga out of it. Still only 1 kill on the board, and that's what gives Marshall their lead of 1,000 gold from that first blood. And just better farming. We are, Marshall is a little down in mid, though this is level 7, but looks like E5 Bravo is not too far from 7 themselves. Starter here, just walking up to the archers, absolutely no care in the world. There's no way you're killing this guy with ult. So you can just walk. Trey is invading the shaman buff, he's not able to get it. Because we see some presence there. And they're both stepping up to the mids that are now gone, which is unfortunate for Penn State. As Marshall's able to clear it just in time. Ganesh's made his way to mid lane, and there's definitely a fight in mid lane about to go down, I imagine. As we see, there's 3 players from both teams in mid right now. Although, it doesn't look like anything was going. Both teams playing pretty safe. Not really trying to fight, I imagine. And we see Robo invading the blue again. So, there goes even more farm for Alma down the drain. That's going to be 4 blue buffs for Robo already at 6 minutes. Actually 5. And a dive under the tower here. I believe Sono didn't take another tower shot. I'm surprised that that happened. Frank's coming in here. He's going to try to pick it up. And you see he's blinded by the Shablanc. Not able to get the Fender ult. That's not really his fault. He just got absolutely blinded. And the horse is going to ult in, looking for a pick. He's taking tower shots. Ganesha ult's going to come down, and now he's in danger of dying, especially while he's being owned. Yep, he's dead. That Ganesha made a really nice rotation to kill him. And now there's 4 people in duo lane. Caden's gonna ult back in. They're still looking to fight, it looks like, or at least secure their purple. But yeah, there's 2 members of Marshall team falling. One because Eagle got a little too aggressive, and the other was honestly pretty unlikely as Susano dove the tower and just barely kill. Ultimate. Marshall, though, even though they're down in the kill department, they're still in the lead. They still have like a 400 or 500 gold lead off of the back of Robo in solo lane. This guy is so far ahead. He's gotten almost every neutral farm over here, and probably every totem. Everywhere else, pretty standard stuff right now. Shablanc is really low, and has no mana. So even though he's a level up, I think this shield buff is going to go for... Yep, going to go straight to Zenith here. And now this lane's going to be a lot more even. Ganesha is in the jungle area, maybe looking to go in, but no, he goes back to mid. Ganesha in mid. Oh wow, very low Trey. Trey's just farming up, but he needs to be careful anyway. Aw, they're able to get the kill on Robo there. He probably got a little too aggressive with his ultimate for that to happen. Susano ganking in and able to pick him up. And now back into base, probably got an item off the kill gold. Zenith killing some Bastions, and now in mid. Just some pretty standard stuff. Everyone playing really safe in mid. I think E5 Bravo should try really hard to stay afloat in this game and not go 0-4 early on. With a sense is going to come in right for them. The Ganesh also going to go down, and the Ohm on the force is going to make it really hard to kill. He does not have the dash. Nice dash, and they're out. Better almost able to pick up the throw. That's got to be like 10 HP. Really nice game from Trey, just barely doesn't get the kill. And unfortunately, Horus might be dead for it. You see that Ganesh, oh, he's able to dash into Trey, who stayed to help his homie out. He lived, both of them living on about 200 health there. He's able to give the Horus the teleport to get out of there. And now, Sono is rotating straight to the lane. Straight to Caden here. Caden's able to get under the tower, but as we saw last time, it didn't matter. They just dove the tower. Sano thinks the purple's down. It's just about to spawn. He doesn't know. Oh, he almost based, but he doesn't. Looking like a save the buff situation for Marshall here, as we got everyone in the jungle over there near purple. Just in case. The mid left's gonna go to Susano. The mid right still up. Up for grabs for anyone in mid. Speaking of up for grabs, Robo's blue buff is just sitting there. I imagine it probably just came up though. Got a Ganesha rotating into duo lane. And at this stage of the game, you really can't pull objectives with your either team. It's so close. There's an 100 gold. Robo's still aggressive in the lane. He does not care to keep that kills earlier. This time, he's probably going to use his ult a lot safer. If I'm him, I maybe even step up to this Alma. Low HP clearing the wave. Teleport over from Ganesha is going to make that impossible though. And they're going to just all come to some lane, I imagine. I see Susano in the jungle there. And Zerova's just going to set under tower. Trey going in. Trey leaping in on the Amadrasi there. He's probably going to try to find an ult in solo lane. See if they're able to pick it up. Not quite. Alma does really live. Susano's coming in here. They got to be really careful, especially Trey right now. Eagle ulting in, and now caught out after the ult. It's actually pretty fine. He's going in really deep here, and the AGL ult is going to find his node. Very nice. Someone lived on one. I believe it was Trey, and Trey's out of there. All 5 members of Marshall in solo lane right now. Picking up the Bastions and a kill. If I'm them, all of them hit the teleporter right now and go to Gold Fury. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Everyone but Trey, who had to go to base, is on the teleporter. And they're going straight to Gold here. By the way, Penn State is fully aware they're here. All 4 of them were just spotted on the teleporter. Susano is going to come in here and try to steal it. And then someone needs to step up and stop him from stealing. And there they are. Doing damage. What Gold Fury Fury, 1 HP, and E5 Bravo gonna go down. I don't know who Gold Fury went to there. I didn't see the message. I believe it probably did go to Penn State. Unfortunate. And Thotho gonna come out here, finds the Horus, but he is going to live. Trey on the beacon in mid. Wonder if he'll try to pick it up. Probably not going to be able to, as the whole Penn State team is there. Yep, he's just gonna disengage. He sees all those people, he's like, no, I'm out of here, man. I don't want any of that. Doesn't pick up his XP though. He was right there on it. I don't know. Interesting pathing from Trey there. But I guess he just really cares about his yellow buff. Of course, I've been looking a little starved for farm. I'm not too sure what Eagle should be doing here. I think he just needs to split as much farm as possible with his team to get back in the conversation. Because right now he's a pretty non-factor. He's nice for his ult to rotate the team, and that's about it right now, unfortunately. Shablanc, no mana again. If you've ever played Shablanc, you know that's pretty standard. Using all your mana for autos. That's a really nice farm they're gonna get. The Gambit doing it. 300 gold lead right now, and we see Rubba going in, gonna force the Amaterasu ult. And that's a fight one for him. Trey looking at the buff, it is down. So no invade happens now. See some pretty standard stuff going on in mid. Just both of them playing really safe, like I mentioned earlier. And the Oracles are going to fall for Penn State here, giving them vision on the Gold Fury. Although it's not up yet, it's still nice to have.
Take a moment to reflect. The moonlight shines.
Amaterasu back to base, teleport back in, get that full health bar. Just now hitting 13. Rover's about half a level up. And he's able to secure the totem, I imagine, with that. Jungle here. Robo's got to be careful. There's an entire team behind him coming in here. 3 members of Penn State right behind him now. He doesn't know. He's getting collapsed on. He's able to ult out. But now there's 4 members of Penn State there, ready to collapse on the Pyromancer now. That Robo doesn't have an ult anymore. Yep, they're looking for Pyromancer, and Trey is invading green. So this is a 4-3 fight for Penn State, and they're just going to grab Pyromancer. Pretty close to securing it. Mid. Marshall was there. Almost got him. And actually Alma's able to live on about 200 health there. I didn't realize how low they were. Trey is deep in the jungle. Let's see if they spot the Amaterasu and cancel the back. They do not. Definitely could have picked up the Amaterasu there, but that's pretty hard to know without a lot of vision. Gold Fury coming up now. This time it's Oni Fury, which is the best version of Gold Fury because it gives you a wave in every lane that's stronger than normal. And it just puts a lot of pressure on the other team when you get Oni Fury. Penn State with a 300 to 400 gold lead. Gonna have the advantage on this Oni Fury fight. Either way, Marshall needs to get grouped up for it, and grouped up for it fast, because they are very split right now. And I imagine Penn State has just reset so they can do it. Either team could be doing Gold Fury right now, and there's just no one there. Just farming up rather than going to ditch. I guess Marshall would want to 50-50 last time and give them a free objective. Susanoo walking at Eagle here. Eagle's going to stun Susanoo, but no follow-up. He's going to Trey used his leap there on Fenrir. And now Penn State, knowing that, is going to go for the Gold Fury. They know that Marshall's presence is pretty weak here right now. Forrest still has his ultimate. Could try to ult in and steal here. And Oni's just going to fall with those ults secure. Ganesh ult also do that. Ooh, Fender barely dies there. Gets caught by the Susanoo ult and probably a stray auto from Shlong there, bringing it down. These two all in all, Forrest and E5 Bravo on the AGL. Just alone there, getting ran down. Luckily, Eagle is going to get. We see the Oni waves spawning in for Penn State as Robo is clearing one right now and so ready. And I'm kind of surprised that PSU is not putting the pedal to the metal and trying to get a tower out of the wave that's crashing into mid. But instead they just elect to reset. We see Caden here, level 16. I don't know what level Shablanc is. Looks like Shablanc is level 80. So Caden's pretty decently behind over here. Hitting 17 now, but he's got a lot of neutral farm this game and only died once. So farm lead probably just coming from Shablanc, invading other things and getting assists with his team on the 20 kills they got it. And a fight breaking out in the right side of Marshall. Out of position and gone. Susanoo punished that so quickly. And Trey trying to help out. He's going to fall as well. And in comes Chernobog, a little late to the party, unfortunately. He's going to eat a Thoth ult. And now it's 3-on-1, and he's just going to get burned down. Robo needs to be careful, although he is winning this fight with Amma. There's more coming. He's going to hold, but not really get any distance with it. And unfortunately, he's about to fall to 4 members of Penn State, and there he goes. Now Penn State have a free Pyromancer. They got 4 kills, and Pyromancer's spawning right now. But instead, they're going to go big fire. They say, hey, I know our burn isn't that good, which I am mistaken. Look at that burn on the fire tank. It's already half health. It's a lot better than I thought. I guess the opposite is going to work. And Eagle's just going to show face here. Trying to make him scared. Trying to steal with the Wing Gust. It's probably the best secure he had on Horus. And if he's not going to get punished for it, why not go for the steal? But he's not going to get it. And he's going to also pick up the Pyromancer. I am very surprised on the burn on Fire Giant there. They have Amma and Shablanc and Susanoo. And a Thoth ult for secure. Amma does not have any attack speed other than standard Phantoms and Vital Amplifier, upgrading her autos. Shablanc has 4 items. That is how they got that service. He is online in a big way. He's got an Envenomed Executioner and Kin Size, and he said, yep, we can just do this. Look how fast we can kill this thing. Even surprised me. Forrest here, fighting Susanoo over the left mids. Not going to be able to get it, even with there's 4 members of Marshall there. I'm pretty surprised they didn't go on Susanoo after he dashed. Excuse me. And we see there's 3 or 4 members. You in right lane here, as Robo's just beating up a harpy, not aware that there's 4 people about to collapse on him. He doesn't have his points enough yet. He's just gonna pop it and get out. Forrest getting collapsed on, but not able to be killed. And P is just gonna pick up this T2 tower in right lane. Marshall still having some trouble fully grouping, as the T2 tower is going to get split pushed by Susanoo, and it's going to fall. But, I mean, if Marshall groups a little better, they can probably defend the T2 tower and right. And now with all these towers falling and all these objectives falling, they're in a 10k gold deficit. All of a sudden, in the last 5 or 7 minutes, this goal lead has surmounted. And now they're going to call, okay, we should group for this left T2. But guess what? Only 2 members of your team are in this 5v2 now, against 4 members of Penn State, and the only one that's not there is the support. So you're not defending this if you're Marshall. Even with Trey showing up late, they're still outnumbered. Able to defend it pretty decently regardless. Trey gets the ult. Almost finds Amaterasu. Unfortunately, he does fall. Gets both ulted there, is what did most of the damage to lead to his demise there. The tower is going to fall anyway. And now they're going to group for a Gold Fury. This is not only Fury, so it's not as crucial to defend for Marshall. But considering they're a member down and already 10k gold down, I think they can afford to give up that Gold Fury. It's a standard Gold Fury. Beacon coming up now. And Penn State is not grouped up well for it. Marshall could group up for it right now. As we see, we're just clearing mid lane instead of stepping on the beacon that's right next to the Eagle here. Now stepping on the beacon, could have had a lot more progress on that already, and Penn State is now grouped up for it. So that's going to be Penn State, unfortunately. Looks like we're split pushing here. Zenith just taking out T1 and right. Knows he's pretty safe right now. Susanoo coming really low, trying to find Robo. He's deep in the jungle now, trying to take any farm that he can. Eagle here trying to help him out. Silver also coming out. He's pretty safe. However, Eagle is not. Forrest gets to get out of there at level 13. And he does, just in time to not get collapsed on by Penn State. They're going to pick up a free farm answer now with a 12,000 lead. And it's going to be full turtle mode for Marshall now. However, Fire Giant's coming up, and they need vision on it bad. I'd like to see them get some Raven wards, which is one of the new wards they had for Season 11. You can send it out instead of having to place it. And then at a safe moment, they can place a sentry on fire, which would be very beneficial for them. Penn State kind of phantom grouping for this mid Phoenix. They can't really do it. They're gonna try to split push maybe. 3 in mid, 2 in solo lane. But other than that, they can't really just do it. Susanoo behind Horus here. Let's see if they group on up for Horus. And then Fenrir gets the ult off and just gets demolished as soon as and Eagle falls as well. Unfortunately. The ult from E5 Bravo is not going to help, and it's just full disengage mode now. Caden falls to Susanoo, and that's a deicide for Penn State, and they're going to collapse into this mid Phoenix, and that's probably game. Seeing as their burn was so fast on Fire Giant earlier, and now they've only gotten more items since then. Yeah. With Ganesha ult and the Thoth ult incoming, that is going to be game 2 for Penn State. Definitely not the greatest showing for Marshall in that game 2. Game 1 looked really promising for most of the game. That game was pretty much a one-way game ever since First Blood was really the only time Marshall had any sort of lead, unfortunately. However, they do know some things to work on now from watching the stream back or watching the VOD of their own game. Since it got spectated, they can just watch their own match. And we see a look at the stats here as we wrap things up. Aqua Regia and Martian Cabbage absolutely carrying the game for Penn State, picking up 12 kills, 15 assists collectively, not a single death for the two of them. And that is the difference maker as Marshall falls 2-0 to Penn State in this one. For Marshall Black and White, they now know what to look at, and hopefully they'll be able to practice a lot of the stuff that they messed up, specifically grouping for objectives is the biggest thing they should be working on in the coming weeks before playoffs. And their record is 1-1, which is still very respectable, and that was the best team in the division, so they definitely have time to grow and try and have a much better showing next time they play Penn State. But for us, that's going to be it today. and we hope to see you next time for the next Smite broadcast.